Hey everybody, welcome back to the Half Hour Power. I am Joe. Brandon is here.
Yo, yo, Joe, what do you know?
How's it going, Brandon?
Oh, man, I'm telling you, I feel so drained, man. I swear, like, my neck hurts so bad. I don't know why, but this,
I know why.
why?
Because the movie we're going to talk about tonight turned 100 years old tonight, and you've been like looking behind you, looking back, and it's putting a crick in your neck.
Well, it's been a scary month. A lot of Dracula movies, had me a lot of paranoid. I'll sleep with garlic around my neck, because I was pale for a while.
Oh my gosh, you were doing all that? You know that's not. You don't need to do that, right?
Well, I don't know. These watching these movies, man, and listening to the book. Oh, dude, you don't understand. It's been one crazy.
Oh, that does get to you. So, how far are you in the book now? How far along?
I am on chapter 27.
You're getting there. You are
Yeah,
getting there.
yeah.
So we are, yeah, we are going to do Nosferatu. Um, Jesse and I did this a couple of years ago, 2019 Halloween show.
Mhm.
Brandon, you were not on it. Where were you?
I was not. I don't know where I was.
I don't know where you were either. But we are going to repost that show. We're going to edit this bit into that. So we'll get to rehear Jesse's thoughts and my thoughts. But right now, we're going to talk.
Oh,
Brandon and I are going to chit chat a little bit about the movie. So I
also,
think we did a Rotten Tomatoes segment in there. So we're going to let Brandon do this. So unless Brandon went back and listened to the show and remembers the Rotten Tomatoes scores,
I don't remember the score, but gave us his opinion too, because he was a special guest on that show.
that's right. Marc was on that show, so you did go back and listen to it. So maybe you do have the
Oh,
scores. Hmm.
I don't
All
know.
right, let's see what's the critic score for 1922 Nosferatu.
1922 Nosferatu. I'm gonna say that the score was 60.
60.
Yeah,
You ready?
I'm ready.
97.
Wow. Wow. Okay. How
That's
many
right.
how many critics is watching this show?
This one is 74, it says, I believe.
74. No, well, that explains a lot.
73. I'm sorry. I rounded up. I shouldn't do that. I should round down to 70.
So 70.
So this movie is certified fresh. What about the audience? It has 25,000 plus.
Oh, it gotta be 100. If that's that many audience members.
You ready?
I'm ready.
87.
It's kind of backwards, ain't it?
A little bit. Little bit. But 87 is still a good score on there. So you got certified fresh, and the audience likes it. So this movie, and this is the first movie we've done that has turned 100 years old.
100 years old.
Um, how do you think this holds up?
It's still a contender technically from Rotten Tomato standards.
Yeah. So I mean, there you go. You got a 100-year-old movie scoring well on Rotten Tomatoes. So what? Okay. So when I watched a restored version. And
Mm.
Jesse watched a public domain version. What kind did you watch? Was yours restored to how it would have been when it was originally released, with all the German names of the characters, um, and the tinting, the color tinting, and all of that stuff? Or did you watch a public domain?
I watched the remake version of it, which is also
Restored?
restored, yes, which is also
Oh,
free on Tubi.
very nice. So there you go. You can watch and what was that one called? Was that the 100th anniversary edition? Is the
Yep,
title on Tubi?
yep, on Tubi it is the Nosferatu 100th anniversary edition.
There you go. So if you've
Oh,
not, if this has just been one of the ones you've just been kind of kicking around and I
yeah,
don't watch it, you need to watch it, and you can watch it for free on Tubi.
on Tubi. Oh, hashtag not sponsored.
No sponsor.
We're not sponsored by Tubi. I always say that.
We're trying, aren't we? Trying.
Yeah. Yes.
But anyway,
if you're listening,
as yeah, Tubi, if you're listening, Shutter. Anyway, so you got to watch the restored version also. So as everybody knows, Murnau, the director, did not get the rights. The company making this did not get the rights. We got to remember too that was all new at the time. That whole screen rights for written work, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all new. I mean, at that time, so maybe they thought and I think that's how the story goes. They thought if they did change the names, that would be enough because the basic story is there, as we all know. So you saw the Count Orlok, and you saw that Harker's name was Hutter, right? And
Yep, Hutter.
Renfield probably has the best name, Knock.
He's the knocker, or knock, but
yeah. And Professor Van Helsing, he is called Bulwer.
Bull. I can't even say it.
Yeah, I know. So, okay, Brandon. So we're gonna get my thoughts when in the second half when the throwback portion of the show comes on. What are your thoughts on this? How does this do as a translation of the book? Since that's what we've been going by, we've been just kind of trying, talking that through a little bit. How does this go? First of all, let me narrow down that question. That's pretty broad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because that was a lot.
How is Max Schreck as Dracula in this Count Orlok? How is he?
He is more close to the book than any other Dracula that I had seen so far. Because he has the hair. Only thing is missing on him is the mustache.
Yeah, he does not have the mustache. He doesn't have any hair on the top of his head.
No.
But he's got the ears.
Yeah, he got the ears, the nose.
And I think you're right. This is the only version where they do the ears. I've never seen another version where his ears are a little pointed.
Mm-mm. And his nose is narrow and flared.
Yes. So absolutely. So he's I really thought he's really good. I think the same. What about Professor Van Helsing in this?
This Professor Van, well, he it's kind of hard. He looks like a crazed professor, with the hair all over the place and the glasses, like he can't see. They like super thick. But his role in there was very, very short. Like I really didn't know that was Van Helsing technically. If I really
so he is really just kind of there, right?
Right.
Okay. So how is Harker?
I mean, Hark is basically almost like a basic Harker, but he's more. And I had to also remember this was a time period when it was a silent film, so it wasn't like no talking. So body language says a lot, and this Harker gives off the good body language of the fear and the eeriness of being in the castle and meeting Count Olaf. So I kind of like.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So how's the opening when he goes to the castle? How's that all for you?
It was nice. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean that the atmosphere in that is really good. It's creepy.
Yeah, it's super creepy. It's
fantastic again, right there.
Well, they did the doors opening at the main gate, opening up by themselves and then closing by themselves. And then the carriage ride was also pretty cool, even though it was short. And they did that negative, like the film negative of it, like it looked like like eerie type thing in this film,
Yeah.
which
Oh
is
yeah.
good.
Um, what about the castle scenes when he gets there? Is that pretty close? Pretty good? Pretty well done?
It's pretty close. It's more it's more it's bigger. So it's like their set or wherever they filmed that was a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And
It's
I mean, you could tell it was filmed during the day, but the tent kind of like it's, um, you know, I think it was like a daytime meeting. Technically, I don't think it was taken at night.
yeah. So it was that whole color tinting. Do you think that was effective in that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, like and I had to study this during my film lit class, when I was taking film lit, and Nosferatu was our first assignment, and you got to think of the technology, and then you also got to look at this is kind of like one of the biggest films at this time era, um, with a tent. It kind of explains, because the cameras couldn't film at night, so they had to add that tint to it. So the blue represented the nighttime, and that the golden tint that's inside the castle is kind of like the tint, like candlelight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like glow. So I liked it for what it is.
Very nice. So the whole thing, you don't have a problem with any of that, and it went really well for you.
Yeah, I like the I like I guess I like old films, old silent films, because it took a lot of talent to do what they did. Um, like Metropolis, like the Phantom of the Opera with Lon Chaney, a lot of his silent movies. It's the silent era was, to me, was a great thing. It was a good thing because it shows a lot more body action,
Hmm.
just talking to. Um, I had to sit there and listen to the actor go, oh, is he being more dramatic? Is he saying the lines cool, correct? And this point in time is not like that.
Yeah.
And it's mostly you're engaged. Like Nosferatu, I was engaged. You know,
Okay. Very good. Very good. So there's something else I just found out that we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about on the 2019 show, which I thought might be kind of interesting to just kind of mention. The I didn't know they had this. The Vatican has a list of 45 greatest films of all time. Did you know that?
no, the Vatican.
Yeah. So that's right. That Vatican. So I guess they did this to mark the 100th anniversary of the cinematic art form in 1995. So they selected 45 of the greatest cinematic masterpieces of the entire century. So this is so there's nothing after 95, if I'm reading this right. They did this in 95. So I don't think they've updated it yet. So maybe they'll wait another 100 years. So, but anyway, I'm bringing this up because Nosferatu is on the list.
Wait,
That's
what?
right. You heard me.
No way.
That's right.
What?
Nosferatu is on the list. They've broken this up into a religion section, values, art, and art is the last section. So you've got Nosferatu, an early horror film that is art recognized by the Vatican,
That is weird.
right?
I wouldn't expected that at all. Definitely the Vatican. I mean, it's a horror movie, and well, you know what? The Exorcist. they do have a lot of religious stuff in this movie. So I guess so. I guess.
Yeah. So there you go. Recognized as art. And also, there's another German movie, Metropolis, is on
Oh, Metropolis is a good silent film. I wish
here. Yeah,
somebody.
I mean, this is really quite a wide list, really. I mean, you got Stagecoach is on here, Modern Times is on here, um, Schindler's List is on here, The Seventh Seal, Chariots of Fire. Um,
Wow, the Seven
uh,
Seals on there. Wow.
yeah, The Mission is on here. Yeah, so I mean, it's really quite a list.
So I
I
wonder
mean,
what.
on the waterfront. I mean, I on the waterfront. Okay, there it is. They're all there. So really quite a I don't know. You were surprised it was there, so I mean, I think people would be surprised by the list. Some of the films on there, people wouldn't be surprised by, but
I mean, I was
I don't
surprised it was not. It's a a horror movie on there. I mean, but I guess if you looking at the Seven Seal and you know those types of movies is kind of a horror genre within itself, really.
there you go. So I just thought that was interesting. We brought that to everyone's attention. So you would definitely recommend this film.
Oh, hands down. Hands
And
down.
it
Like,
goes without saying, absolutely. So you got since you've taken over and helped me with the show, co-hosting the show, you've been talking to more people about movies, less people, or what? What do you think
I talk,
your conversations with people has been? Has it been you're talking with more people about movies, or what?
I am talking to more people about movies. I have a core network of friends that I talk to, and I tell them about the older movies, and like they want to talk about the new Marvel movies and stuff like that, and I bring up old horror movies and you know movies from the 80s and B movies and stuff like that. I bring it to their attention, and then they kind of intrigued about it because some of these guys are young, some guys are never looked into um, certain movies and stuff like that. I watched that movie called Barbarian, and
Yeah.
I had told a friend about it, and he watched it, and he liked it.
Okay.
I have
So
a
what if you talk to anybody who wouldn't ever watch a silent movie, ever talk to them, and maybe they did give it a try, or most people you're talking to kind of like
uh
resistant?
two people um watched like two of the horror movies, not two of horror movies because Metropolitan is not really a horror movie. I had one guy, he watched the Phantom of the Opera with Lynn Chaney, and then
Oh,
he was watching Metropolis with me because I was just explaining to him how silent films worked, and um he was kind of thrown back by because not too many people know about silent movies, so they don't, and I'm glad we're doing a show about older movies and stuff like that because it's not brought to a lot of people attention, you know.
yeah. They kind of, for lack of a better term, they just kind of write them off. Like there's no value, there's no entertainment value there for them.
Right.
But I've always thought there was, and I've always considered myself lucky, and I've always been grateful that I somehow developed a taste, or I don't know what the or a yearning or a desire to see what these films were like.
True. Hey.
So I mean, and you and I have been talking about movies for years.
Oh yeah, yes, yes, we have.
You have always had that from, I gather from our conversations. You've always had that also.
Yep.
So it's, one of the things you and I try to do is try to say, hey, there are value in some of these older movies that you don't think would be entertaining for you at all. You just have to give them a try, especially And the people that kind of disappoint me the most about that, who don't watch them at all, are people who say I'm a movie buff or a movie lover, but then you bring something up and they go, I'd never watch that. And I've had that before, and I'm really like, then you're just not really a movie buff, or you don't really love movies like you say.
Yeah, because
It-
two things that you say that, because I found out. So when we were talking about Night Stalkers the other day, and
yeah,
yeah, it took me a minute to remember what that show was, and I did watch that show, that
yeah.
church
See,
show. So I did watch that. I used to sit there and watch it with my mother. So yeah,
see, there you go.
I was like,
Yeah,
Night Stalkers, but sometimes the names don't click until you
yeah.
actually like look it up. I'm like, oh yeah, I used to watch this show. So yeah, I mean, and then too, I have a good tie to silence films because I found out from my grandmother that my great grandmother used to play the piano at the silent films.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
she used to be the pianist for the films, and I was like, what? So that's another reason why it's a good thing that I like watching these silent films. Not saying that she played the music for everyone, but still,
Yeah. So I mean, you're bringing that up that like when there were silent movies, movie theaters actually had people who played the organ along with the movie,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
which that is very cool. I never knew that.
Yeah, I didn't know that neither until the other day.
Oh, okay. So you weren't holding out on me
No, I just found that
with
out.
a good bit of trivia. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Very good.
just found
So
that out. Only reason how I found
yeah.
that out
So
because my grandmother was like, "What are you watching?" Because I was watching on my phone, and she's like, "What are you watching?" I was like, "I'm watching Nosferatu," and she knew what it was. And she was like, "Oh, that old silent movie with the vampire guy." I said, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, your great grandma used to play at the theater downtown. She used to play the piano for the silent films." I was like, "What? Like, are you for real?"
that is awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty educational that I found out.
Wow. Fantastic. So I'm just letting that sink in for a little bit. um, yeah. So I'll just say again, if you're listening and you've never checked one of these out, you should definitely do it. And
Yeah,
Brandon, you got any other thoughts on this before we turn this over to the throwback show?
yeah. For a lot of people who like the land, not Land Chaney, um, Bela Lugosi's Dracula, the 1931, you know, first talkie horror movie. Um, if you like that, you're definitely gonna like the silent films because it's the same process, it's the same thing, is just added with sound, and it's very very entertaining. Definitely to see people who are acting when you don't hear their voice and you can go by their body language. I think everyone should at least experience a few silence films. Definitely if they say they movie buffs, because the creativity and how they did things and the lighting, it's very amazing, very good, very. I like it a lot.
Very well said, sir. I couldn't say that better. Can't say anything better than good. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so with that, we're gonna turn it over, go back in time to 2019, and listen to myself from the past and Jesse talk about Nosferatu. Then Marc will hop on there a little
Yeah, more cops on there.
later. All right, we'll talk to you all next time.
Later, guys.
everybody. Welcome back to the Half Hour of Power. It's Joe here, and Jesse is here somewhere. Jesse, you there?
I am here.
Hey, how's it going? Did you have a good few hours?
I did. I had a great. I finally got my letter in the mail from the lawyers saying that they're going to sue us for still on the side to open Bram Stoker.
Oh, and that's sweet of them.
Yes. Them lawyers. Always
All
get
right.
involved.
Well, they got to do something. So, happy Halloween, everybody. It's our Halloween show 2019. We're going to talk about the horror classic Nosferatu. And before we get into anything, what do you think's on Rotten Tomatoes? You think this is on Rotten Tomatoes? I mean, it's really, really old. Oh my gosh, it's mostly in black and white, depending on which version you watch. Do you think anybody would put this on Rotten Tomatoes? Do you think anybody would review this?
Yes, there would be some people who would review it, but there are some people I know who would watch this movie and not like it because it's silent and black and white. So.
Wow, weird people.
Mhm.
Okay, so all right. Well, what do you think the critics give it? If it's on there, let me pull that up there.
Right.
Yeah, it's there. What do you think they give it? It's on there. It's got some ratings.
93 for critics.
All right. What about the audience score?
82.
Oh, what?
82.
Did you say 82? Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Pretty close. So the critics 97. This movie's certified fresh. And the audience score is 87. Now, only 63 critics rated it, and almost 50,000 audience. So there you go. So it's got some good, favorable stuff there.
Good.
So sometimes it's kind of fun to go and read some people's reviews of these silent movies.
Mhm.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't want to. So I've seen this movie plenty of times, but when I watched it for this show again and for the Halloween, I felt like I watched it for the very first time because I finally got to see the whole movie, a restored version from that was Kino Video, right?
Kino.
Yes, Kino. Okay, it was absolutely gorgeous.
Mhm.
Everything was cleaned up and presented in the as close to the way as it was originally intended to be seen in Germany, right? Or everywhere.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
It had the tinting in there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. It had everything
was
that you want
gorgeous.
For Nosferatu from the 1922. Because I didn't get to watch that version.
Yeah.
I watched a whole entire different version.
You did, but you watched some of the version with me.
Yeah, I watched some of that version, but the one I saw was I don't even know who put it out, but it was very poorly done.
This movie's in public domain now, so anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think most people know the story that this is based. It is based on Bram Stoker's novel Dracula. And they didn't get permission or buy the rights or anything. They just made it. So they changed the names and they changed some of the plot, and they tried to make it as different as possible, but Stoker's widow was having none of that. So we don't get to see this at all.
Let's play the game. Okay, you ready? I watched it and you watched it.
Yeah.
In my version, the main character of the vampire was named Dracula. In your version, his name was
Orlok.
Orlok. And the version I watched, it was, of course, Harker, who went to go see him in the castle. In your version, his name was
Hutter.
okay.
Yeah.
In my version, Professor Von Helsing was just called the Professor. He had no name. In yours, his name was?
Oh my God, Bulwer.
Bulwer.
It was
yeah.
a weird name.
Yeah. Yeah. But and like in my version, the Harker's wife was named Mina. I know in your version, her name was oh my God, what was her name?
Ellen.
Ellen. Yeah. So yeah, that's how Murnau thought he would avoid a lawsuit by changing all the names, but not changing the plot in any way.
Well, he did. He changed the plot here and there.
A little bit, not a lot.
I mean, the plot is so. It's if you didn't know that this wasn't supposed. If you didn't know that they did that, you would still think it's Dracula, and you would still. I mean, everything is there. But he tried to change. The ending is way different, and the way the vampire dies is way different.
Right.
I mean, sunlight kills him in this, and sunlight didn't kill Dracula.
Right.
He could still run around in sun.
Like one of the major changes again, but I think every Dracula movie has changed this in some way, except maybe Francis Ford Coppola's. Is that in this version, Reinfeld is basically a real estate agent, and he's the one who sends out Harker to do business with Orlok, or Hutter out to do business with Orlok, because he's controlled by Dracula. Of course, that really doesn't make much sense makes much sense, because it's like, if he's already being controlled by Dracula, why doesn't he just buy the houses for him anyway? Why does he need Harker to go out?
I don't know, but in the version I watched, Reinfeld
was what? I think I lost
Knock.
Okay.
Oh, are you Knock?
You went out there for a
Knock.
second.
Oh, sorry.
But
he had a good fun name, Mr. Knock. But we've talked quite a bit about Dracula movie versions on this show, but I think you missed a couple of shows we did. I don't know what happened to you. Where were you? You were working on a haunted house when we did those, right? And
yes, I was. Yes.
Our good friend Jeremy stepped in for you. So here's your chance to kind of go over some of that that you missed.
One of the things that Murnau did a great job. I mean, he really captured the essence of Dracula. It's a spooky movie, even for a silent movie. His photography is fantastic. And one of the things I really liked about this Nosferatu movie was that Count Orlok. My lord, it's probably the least. He looks a lot more like the Strigoi from The Strain than Dracula. What I would picture Dracula as, but he looks creepy as hell.
Yeah, he is a walking corpse. He is creepy looking. The way he moves, walks. Yeah, I agree. I mean, the atmosphere and everything in this movie is just stunning. But one of the things I noticed while watching this, which I don't know if I noticed this before, is Hutter's kind of a jerk.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, in particular, when he gets to the inn, right before he moves on to go to Orlok's castle, the I don't know, the housekeeping lady, I guess we'd call her today. was in there, like, making sure his bed was ready. He walks in, and his bed is way up high, and there's a little step. There's a step to step up onto the bed, a little step stool. She steps up there. She's fluffing up the pillow for him, and he throws his hat on the bed right where she's working.
Mm-hmm.
She picks his hat up off the bed and hangs it up for him, and he throws his bags everywhere he could throw them in the room. He throws them right at the foot of that step stool where she might step to get down, and he's just kind of, oh, look at this. And I'm like, wow, he's kind of a jerk. Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once he gets... Well, once he got to the end, he did that. He sat down and started banging on the table. Bring me my supper! I've got to go to Count Orlok's castle soon.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that's a really fun scene. Of course, that makes all the townspeople stop and stare at him. Oh, don't go there! Don't go there! Now the coach scene was. The coach people, they do the same thing. They don't want to go any further. We're not going any further. You got to get out and go. But I forget where this happened in the movie. They talk about a wolf. There's wolves out there. Maybe he was still in the inn. But it was funny because they cut to the wolf. Do you know what that animal was?
It was not a wolf. It was a hyena.
Yeah. I was like, wow, that's really funny. Look at that.
Yeah. No, I thought it was cool because didn't they paint it a little bit or something? Didn't they kind of paint it over a little bit, kind of dye its fur a little bit? Up.
But I was thinking one of the things I was thinking as to why they might have used it, and I could be totally way off, is it might be to play up the supernatural so that maybe something's not quite right about this wolf. Maybe it's Count Orlok. So it doesn't look right. But I could be way off on that. I don't know if that's true or not. It was just something for me when I was watching it.
My belief is that the infamous beast, the Goblin, from the movie Brotherhood of the Wolf, in real life, they believed that it was a hyena. So maybe that was his ode.
Might be. Might be.
Yeah.
But the scenes where he gets to the castle, those are phenomenal. You got the coachman, of course, in the book. The coachman is Dracula, and I think most of the movies, the coachman is Dracula. So this is no different. But he looks all creepy, all dressed up. He doesn't talk. He just kind of points. You get in this. Get in here. And of course they get to the castle. The castle is creepy all by itself too. In most versions.
Yeah. And this one version had a nice castle. I thought it was a pretty cool castle.
Yeah.
But I think one of my main problems with the coach scene and this one is I really don't have a problem with it. I thought it was spooky, but whenever I think of coach scenes, my favorite coach scene from any Dracula movie is Bram Stoker's, and that's only because he picks him up and he puts him in the coach.
Yeah.
And it's always like, every one of these movies, even this one, if I was Hutton or Harker, I'd see the guy drive the coach and go, nope, you can go ahead and go. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I would just drop my bag and go, I'm out.
Yeah.
And walk away.
So, once they get to the castle, they got all the main key scenes are there. Hutter cuts himself just like Harker does. He explores the castle a little bit, realizes the Count is not quite right. There's something, but there's a really cool scene where he stumbles across him in the coffin. And you see that he's sleeping there with a broken lid where you can see his fangs through that broken lid. and he just flips out.
Yeah. He's got an overbite. Someone help me.
I mean, he is just terrified.
Yeah. I mean, he saw the things before. I don't know how he didn't see the things before. And he had dinner with him. Of course, Orlok didn't eat. And he had to see the things when he was shaving and he cut himself. Because, I mean, the things hang out of his mouth.
Yeah, I mean, he
the
just...
whole movie.
Well, I mean, in the scene where he cuts himself, I mean, he's cutting the bread and he cuts his thumb, and Orlok runs over to him and grabs his hand and starts to suck the blood out of his finger.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that freaked him out, but I think after he went to sleep, he was not, you know, he kind of thought that might have been a dream and all, but...
Maybe.
So let's talk a little bit about Murnau. F.W. Murnau, of course, made this.
Mm-hmm.
What else did he make?
Oh my God, he made a movie about I can't remember the title, but I watched it. It wasn't too bad. I think it's about a doorman, and it's. I tell you, plots from the old 20 films are really elaborate. But it basically has to do with the fact that he stays at that door and he's so proud of his job that he misses his daughter's life, and he gets a chance to go back and revisit his daughter as she was growing up at the time he missed it, you know. Or I can't remember the title of it, but it's miles away from what Nosferatu is. Man, I wish I could remember the title of that movie.
You don't remember that at all?
But I think it's called Sunrise.
Is that
my
Sunrise
is
a song of two humans?
Yeah, no, that's not Sunrise. But that's another movie he made, is Sunrise. Taboo. Oh, God. He didn't get to make a whole lot of films in his life. He died relatively early in life from a car accident. Oh, what's the other one? And then he made Faust, which Faust is also on Shudder. I wouldn't mind. I mean, not Shudder. It's on Amazon Prime. I wouldn't mind watching that one either.
Yeah.
I'll remember the title. I apologize. I can't remember the title of it, but he's made quite a few films. He used the same cast for most of his movies. Like most directors, they get their little niche group. But he's an interesting individual. He is one of the men that you could consider to be the founders of cinema almost. But there is a movie called Shadow the Vampire, which is about the fact that they think that Max Schreck is an actual vampire. And the way those guys are described, the filmmaker and his crew, and the way they look, they're like mad scientists. They're like mad scientists trying to figure out how to do this, how to make film, which I thoroughly enjoyed that. So I think he could be considered one of the fathers of cinema, especially horror cinema.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, this has been highly influential on cinema. Even today. I mean, you look at The Strain. Of course, you look at Salem's Lot. I mean, the look of the vampire is iconic. I mean, almost as iconic as what Bela Lugosi's look has done also. I mean, almost. Maybe even as. I don't know. I mean, it's a very recognizable vampire. We got a caller on the line. Let's bring up the caller and see what they think of this. Hey,
hello.
caller, you there?
Happy Halloween.
Hey, is this
happy
Mark?
Halloween.
Hey, Mark, happy Halloween to you,
Mark.
sir.
Happy Halloween.
Hey, Mark, did you go to any haunted houses today?
No, I did not get a chance to do that today.
That's good, because I was reading in Bayonne, which is a city I think you're familiar with. They have opened up a brand new haunt, and it's run entirely by midgets.
Oh yes, we have midgets running the haunt. Usually they just stand outside, especially all holidays they come out. Even as they become elves and Christmas and all that, and they all come out. And our 4 or 5 midgets in town all come out, and they just put a display like the.
So there you go, everybody. Bayonne, New Jersey is a magical town, as Marc would know. So, Marc, what about Nosferatu? Have you seen this movie?
I have seen it. I have seen it several times, actually. And I will tell you, I always really liked it. I mean, I like the look of it. I like the scenery. I like the vampire. I always like that vampire. He's very creepy. That is like one of the creepiest vampires, I think, in cinema history.
Oh, yeah.
And like you were saying, it's very iconic because they use that vampire in many movies, such as the Salem's Lot. It's got the same type of vampire, and you could say just as iconic as the Bela Lugosi Dracula, pretty much. This movie, to me, had a lot of cool history behind it. As far as, do you know the trivia behind it where they said that they filmed the entire movie in the daytime?
Yes. Yes, they shot the whole thing in the daytime.
No lighting, so they had to. And they also said, which refers to Shadow of the Vampire, they also said that Max Schreck usually would stay in costume all day long, pretty much not going out of his role. Referring to that.
Yeah, he was
going out of his role.
Yeah. So I mean, Marc, I don't remember if we talked about this yet, Jesse, but the public domain version is all just black and white.
Black and white.
And the restored version has tint. And the night, to differentiate between day and night, the nighttime, the tint is bluish. And then the day scenes are of like this golden, just beautiful golden, sepia type color. And I think they even had another color for twilight.
Yeah.
Well,
so when you get to that scene where the way to kill Count Orlok, and there's a cool book that they keep reading that I don't did Hutter bring that with him, or did he find it at the end? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
But however he got it, he keeps reading it, and then Ellen gets a hold of that book because Hutter told her not to read it, and of course when you tell somebody that, they're going to read it. She reads in there these things about vampires and then how to kill the vampire, and it says it was something about a lady of pure blood could keep the vampire, and he would ignore the morning rooster.
Right.
And then he would be killed by the sun's rays, which is a really great scene, and I'm sure everybody has seen that at least a still of that at some point in their lives. But it's a really well done scene where, he's just really enjoying drinking all that blood because he didn't turn anybody into any vampires in this. He killed them all.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to see scenes where they're just taking people out of their houses in coffins in this, and that's a really creepy scene. And, of course, nowadays when we watch that, it's really hard not to say, bring out your dead. That's just tough.
Yeah.
But
Bring out our midgets.
So yeah, I mean, he's just killing everybody in the town. So of course they think it's all the plague, but yeah, it's the plague of the vampire. Yeah. So what do you think about that, Mark?
Yeah, I think when you were going to say he did bring that book with him to the end. He did. So he does read it.
Oh, he did.
He does read the book. Yeah, he brought it to the inn with him, and he does read it quite a bit. The Vampire and Terrible Ghost Magic and the 7 Deadly Sins. That's what it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this movie's almost 100 years old.
Yes. 3 more years.
Yeah. Does that make you feel old?
Doesn't make me feel old.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that people still watch it 100 years later.
Yeah, I mean that is pretty cool. So, I mean anybody I can talk to that'll listen, I'll tell them they need to see this movie. They need to watch. They need to go back and they need to look at some of these movies, the silent movies, the old black and white movies. Because anymore, I get astonished at how many people I run into who won't watch black and white movies. Don't watch silent movies. Yeah, they won't even try them. They won't even check them out. And they say they're movie lovers. A lot of them. It's like, well, I love movies, so I wouldn't watch it in a black and white movie, or I wouldn't watch a silent movie. Well, then you don't really like. In my view, I'm like, well, you don't like movies as much as you say. Then I mean, I'm sorry, you just don't.
All right.
Is that too harsh?
I think it's just what they achieved back then too. With the equipment that they had to do these movies, they really achieved a lot. To bring the story alive. And I think you really got to go back to these movies in order to see where it started. So
now, Jesse, you didn't get to answer this question. I don't remember where I ranked this when we were ranking all of the Dracula pictures that we were doing on that show, but where would you put this in terms of Dracula movies that are based on the book?
That's hard to say. I'm not I don't think there has been a Dracula film made yet that really lives up to the book. But it's not a bad movie. I think we said this and we were laughing about it that Professor Von Helsing in the Professor whatever Bolver is totally useless in the Nosferatu version.
Yes.
He basically is there to explain how nature might reflects the vampire, and he shows up at the end after she's already dead and Nosferatu's dead, and he does nothing. So he's kind of totally useless to the film in every way. But the vampire parts are really good. I really, really enjoy the parts on the I'm going to kill this name, the Impanu, which in the Dracula book is the meter. I really, really enjoyed those things. Those are fantastic. So I'd say, oh man, I still think probably, and I'm not the biggest fan of this. I know you're a bigger fan of this, but Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, probably the best or second best, but it's under that one for sure.
Oh, it's under that? Oh.
Yeah, I think Francis Ford's is the best.
Well, I know you didn't see this one, but the 1977 BBC version with Louis Jordan, that one I ranked as I ranked that one as the best, closest to the book. It had the most elements from the book and followed the story the most. And now they are coming up with a new version that doesn't look that good from the little trailer I've seen. So this is like the third BBC version they're coming out with. There was one in 2006. I didn't see that one. And now there's a third one coming, which I'll probably watch because I like to be tortured, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, to me, this one, the atmosphere, it gets the atmosphere of the book. It gets the spirit of the book very well. It's very, I think it's still creepy today. And if I were to see a vampire like that, I would be creeped out by that. All right, so Marc, final thoughts.
If you haven't gone to see it because it's very artistic. It's a good movie, and for its time, it really set a lot of standards to me as far as what vampires in the future should really kind of look like. I mean, and it's a wonderful story. So I would say see it. I say if you give it a chance and see it, this way you can base it. You can base other movies and check out other movies and you can go back to it and go, oh wow, this is a wonderful picture.
Yeah, Jesse, final thoughts.
It'll probably be I Don't Want to Die.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Okay, so yeah, if you've only seen the public domain version, you haven't seen it yet, it's well worth a rental to watch the restored version, or even buying it. Buying it would be well worth it, especially if you're a big fan of this type of stuff. And if you haven't seen it at all, then just get the Kino version and watch that fully restored version. It's beautiful. And it was a good movie when it came out, and it's a good movie now, and it's a good movie forever. All right, we'll see you next time.
Oh, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Oh, happy. What happened, Black?